Hi friends, my name is Narasimha and I'm studying my BTech in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering College. Today, as a part of my AIT concept videos, in the subject of software engineering, I want to explain about a topic named testing issues. So, first of all, what is this testing? When a project being developed, whether that is a website or a web app, anything, the testing process should be in the most important method because whenever a project is developed, the testing process should be done to know whether there are errors or bugs, or it is clear whether we have, as it came, whether we have developed. So the testing process is very important. Coming to the slide. Testing in software engineering. Software testing is an integral part of any software development phase. Testing often accounts for more than 50% of the expenditure incurred in developing a particular software. The more complex is the software, the more time and resources need to be spent to make sure that flaws are detected and subtracted. Software or systems are often installed and rolled out with hundreds of defects in them. The result is poor performance and loss of many days both for the software development firm as well as the client. To avoid such problems, team leads or managers must sort out some issues which are inherent to software testing. So, in this level, I want to explain that how a testing process is required and why a testing process should be processed in the software engineering. Whenever a project or a website has been developed, more of the expenditure, 50% of the expenditure is spent on only this testing process because the programmers or the stakeholders or any person who involved in this software project development, at last they have to get in clarity that whether the software or the project which has been developed is up to the mark or not. Means the use, it should be combined with the user's development and the user issues should not be there. And at last, when it is in deployment stage, the project should be in a clear and useful way for the user. So the testing process should be done because software or systems are often installed and rolled out with hundreds of defects in them. The result is a poor performance. When a such project is deployed to an user and afterwards when it is in a running stage, it will result in poor performance, which will lead to the user irritation, and next time he will not be willing to give the project development to the same company or the same work. So the testing process is very important to know the errors and bugs, and it should be rectified. If the testing process is not done, what will happen? If the testing process is not done, when it is the same project with the errors and bugs is deployed to the user, and when it is a running stage and the errors are detected, again to detect the errors and again to restart the same project is very difficult, and it leads to the loss of money, loss of human effort, and loss of time. So the testing process should be in a clear way. Next, the stages involved in the testing process: unit testing, module testing, subsystem testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. Here, the component testing, integration testing, and user testing are three divided subparts, and in the five are the parts. So, in this unit testing, module testing, all are because when, and for example, in PhonePe is an account or any website is there. So, it is divided into module-wise project because if whole project cannot be developed by a single person or a single team. All the persons will be split into teams, and each team will be focused on a module. So, for each module, there will be a testing process, and of the testing process, the module has been get up to the mark, then the whole the project will be has an again a testing process because the links between the modules or the interconnections between the modules should be in a correct way, whether the module is in a particular testing or not. So next, testing types. There are many testing types based on the software project has been developed. For example, some of the projects are operational testing, functional testing, end-to-end testing, multi-layer testing, acceptance testing, field testing, diagnostic testing, loop back testing, and laboratory testing, alpha, beta, and white box testing, performance testing, and interoperability testing, load testing, stress testing, and service capacity testing. Based on the project and based on the useful items, the testing process should be done. And based on the how the testing process should be done, the types are here. Next, testing issues. So whenever this testing process, these types of testing process has been performed, what were the issues will be present and how they should be rectified. And five of the testing issues I'm showing in this video, and I'll see the methods how to rectify it. First one, inadequate scheduling of testing. Testing in a time is a time-consuming affair. It has to be done. So, since it is done to bring out the defects or inadequacies of the system under different conditions are not to show that it works. And testing needs to be go hand in hand with development. This will make sure that inadequacies or errors in a particular functionality of a system is brought to the notice of a development team and sorted out sooner than later. However, more often than not, what happens is that managers keep on postponing testing until late in the development process. This leaves very little time for the final testing, which results in inadequate scheduling of the process. So, whenever a testing process should be done, not only testing process, during any development process, the scheduling should be in a correct way, because as the project is very bigger or in very huge in content, the lines of code or functional point, all should be done in very particular manner, because every testing is a time consuming process. So in the time consuming process, if the development process took more time, then there will be little time for the testing process. And in that little time, if the testing process is not in a correct manner, then it will affect in the running stage of a process, running stage of a project. So the inadequate scheduling of testing means that proper scheduling, proper planning of a testing is very important for the managers, because whenever the development process took much time, then the managers will begin postponing the testing process, which will leads to the irregular deployment of the project. Next. So next we will see the how the method to be solved this testing issue. The managers must emphasize the need for testing as a follow-up, and they have to make sure the development and testing of different functionalities of the system goes side by side. This will give the testing team enough time to look at the systematic inadequacies and vulnerabilities comprehensively. So the managers, who are the team managers leading the team for the development of a project, they have to schedule the process of the development in a very clear way, which leads to the proper time for the testing process. And in the testing process, the testing team will have enough time for testing all for the module testing, unit testing, and entire project testing in a clear way, which will lead to the deployment of a good project. Next. Second issue, insufficient testing environment and tools. Tools and environment are backbones of proper software testing. However, testing is often carried out in inadequate testing environment, and often over reliance on manual testing or COTS testing tools is another aspect. Moreover, some of the environmental components themselves suffer from defects. What is commonly seen is that test environment, test data, and test software are not under adequate configuration control. So in this slide, I want to say that for anything, for testing or development, anything, the environment and the tools should be very neat and clear. Because, for example, in a development process or in a testing process, the test team has been doing the testing, the module testing. Suddenly, the Wi-Fi connection or any disturbance is going on the servers, and it will leads to irritation, and the testing process will not be in a clear way, and the testing team will not have any interest to do the testing of a project. So it will lead to the irregular time of the testing. So the testing environment and the tools should be in a proper way for the testing team, so that they have a peaceful environment and all required tools for the testing process. Next, the methods to solve. Team managers must ensure that actual or close enough hardware and software requirements are met in a testing environment. This will make sure that testing brings out the flaws that would actually evolve during operations by the end user. Team managers must also deploy automated testing tools if the testing process is complex, as involving more human testers is not possible. This will make sure that testing is carried out fast with limited resources and repeatedly, and can bring out more flaws in the system. So the environment, team managers who are taking ahead of the testing process has to make ensure that the hardware and software requirements are up to the mark, requirement, and equal time should be given the testing team, which will result in a limited resource and repeatedly testing, because every project, the testing process should be in a repeated way, because the flaws will be coming in the day-to-day project. So they have to repeatedly doing the testing process. The third one, wrong testing mindset. Often the mindset of the software testing team revolves around finding out functionality of the system rather than finding defects in it. This itself prohibits the team from finding out flaws in the software. So not only the environment, the mindset of the testing person should be in a peaceful way. Because if any stress is there, irritation is there, or any server problem is there, then the mindset of the testing person will go in a wrong way, and he cannot concentrate on the testing process, which will leads into the bad testing. Solve. It is the duty of a team leading to incline the notion that testing is done to find fault with the system or software under different conditions, and not to prove that it works. Next. Fourth one, testing legends are often ignored. It is often seen that same type of problems are repeated in systems, projects after projects. Methods to solve. This is purely a management related problem. Management must ensure that team leads are careful enough to document each and every lesson learned in previous projects and implement them in projects thereafter. So, whenever a project being tested, some of the flaws are detected. So there should be a document for that, because if another project or same error is detected, then how to solve? They should have a clear idea. So the document of a project or a document of a testing error should be maintained, because it will be helpful for the further projects when they are in a testing process. Next, the last one. Poor integration of testing and engineering process. Often it is seen that testing and engineering process are not properly integrated. This means that components or subsystems are often tested for flaws before they are mature enough to be tested on all parameters. Moreover, there may be some project specific needs that need to be looked into. One size fits all formula does not apply to software testing. So in this last one is poor integration of testing, means the integration of the testing is very less in performance. Often it is seen that testing and engineering process are not properly integrated. So a proper document way or a proper testing should be followed in the testing process. Next, methods to solve for this testing issue. Testing team must ensure that components and subsystems are tested when they are mature enough to be tested on all parameters. This all can only happen if the testing and engineering team works are well coordinated. So the testing team and the development team should be having better communication, because in the development team, any person will develop the module according to his mindset. And the testing team should understand what has been developed and what should be tested and what should be the output should be developed for the user. So there should be a proper communication between all the workers who are involved in the project. So these are the five testing issues which are going in this: inadequate schedule of testing and insufficient testing environment and tools. And the third one is wrong testing mindset. Fourth one is testing lessons are often ignored. Fifth one is poor integration of testing and engineering process. So these are the five testing issues according to my knowledge. So thank you, friends. I hope my lecture is useful for you, and so watching. Thank you.